who you also just said is looking very shaky.
Team Nigma almost lost to the Hellbear Smashers.
10 seconds remaining.
That's true. That was a nice upset. Although that was also like the first game jitters, as to say.
5 seconds.
Sure, but if you're gonna give Nigma a pass, you gotta give Spider Pigs a pass too.
The problem is I like a lot of these guys, and I've spent quite a bit of time at lands with these guys, so I'm gonna be as hard as possible on the Spider Pig. That's my goal here. I can't be distracted by the fact that there's some good lads. They're real grinders. If you guys, I mean, there's a lot of people watching who probably don't recognize some of these players. I mean, specifically like D&Z and LeBron, I feel like have been trying to get a lot of stacks together for a long time now, and they've gone through several iterations of players. Sometimes they pick up this player, they seem really good, and they like end up kind of getting the Syndrome effect of being escalated out of their team into something a little bit higher tier. So they just keep on grinding and churning out matches. And as much as I'd love to see them get that success here, this is kind of the wall where they typically hit, right?
Well, but that's what it takes, right? Like, you got to give LeBron a lot of credit. Like, he's always a guy like who's putting together teams, playing in qualifiers, playing in other tournaments, just constantly grinding, always trying to get better at it. You're just waiting for your one big break, your one big qualifier, your one big tournament, and then everything changes. So definitely got to admire his dedication to the game.
Absolutely. He's also, I believe, the oldest player we have still left in the qualifiers at 31 years old, and the only Serbian, I believe, as well. He is definitely grinding it, and he's found himself success with this team. Obviously, former Level Up. They did do quite well. That's why they started out in the upper bracket. It's curious to see how they will play up against Team Nigma this time around. They'll start out from the Radiant side for this first game of this best of 3, and Team Nigma will play on the Dire side. Okay. I guess we're both opening up with the core and with a support here, probably anyway, in the case of Lena. But strong openings here, Trent.
Yeah, here we go, right? Double illusion. Let's go. Luna versus TB. Let's get all these other messy, annoying carries out of the way and hop right into it here. I feel like our second phase bans usually get like 6 carries, right? So
yes,
now maybe we can be a little bit more targeted onto some of these support players.
Yes, we saw Nigma do a similar, or they played against the Terrorblade the other day, and that was actually against, they had the Enchantress. I feel like Enchantress is a pretty nice tool against Terrorblade. Being able to just grab one of those illusions helps a lot dealing with the split push, and that's the reason why Terrorblade is such a great carry. You know, he scales through his illusions, but he also generally has like map control, and he's almost always the highest net worth because he can not only farm Ancients, but he can also farm another jungle or another wave while he's doing that, which Luna can't, for example.
And you would put Terrorblade, if you would just compare carries head to head without their support staff with them, Terrorblade triumphs Luna at the moment.
Yeah, I think it triumphs everyone.
Yeah, the hero's very strong, mostly just because of like Metamorphosis is kind of overwhelming amount of damage, and he also has really high attack range, which gives him a lot of advantages versus Luna. That being said, like if either carry is an item up on the other, I think that that carry will win. The man up. We saw the Luna. I think it was ILTW who did it, maybe, who had the like Ags on Luna. I forget which Luna it was.
I think it was.
Somebody did the Ags on Luna versus Terrorblade, and just Terrorblade just got exploded by all the magic damage that came out.
It was Spider Pigs, I believe, because I think it was Coma.
Oh, you're right.
Wasn't it?
We could have a repeat.
It's possible.
Yeah, because we talk about LeBron being, the veteran on the block. Coma, the carry player of Spider Pigs, the freshest kid on the block, the newest player. Just in general, he's 18 years old, only started playing competitive last year. So, start of last year though, so he has a year and a half, a year and some there. But yeah, will be interesting to see how he does here on this Luna. We got a Grimstroke picked up as well. Let's see, can we learn anything specific from these bans? Because as you say, Trent, normally we see all the carries banned out. This time around though, they had the luxury of spending those bans on some other heroes.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, it kind of goes in like a series of chains here. I mean, they're just covering for TV in a lot of cases, the Darkseer and the Timber. And then of course they saw the DK ban come out, so they're like, all right, well, I don't feel like getting pucked here, so just make sure that's all covered. And then Spider-Face go with a very safe in terms of like going to this phase with the Grimstroke. Lets them set up for a lot of different melee offlaners, and then there's still the Doom threat that's kind of lurking there. Oh, Nick!
Vengeful Spirit, huh?
We're really getting all the garbage heroes as qualifiers. Is that what's happening here?
This hero is okay. Just sometimes the lane can be a little rough. I would say it's in a similar category of Chen. You know, laning phase has just been so important the last, whoever knows, like last 2 or 3 years, right? We just don't see Venge. Just kind of a bad laner, but Grimstroke, Sand King, yeah, I was definitely expecting them to just get their offlane combo here. Grimstroke is a hero that can be strong in lane if paired with the right hero. So it'll be interesting to see what Nigma decides. Or I guess if Venge Terrorblade is a pretty weak lane, I think.
10 seconds.
As long as you don't fight into meta.
Looks like she's been banned 4 times, but this is the first Venge pick. It's kind of interesting. I wonder what was promoting Venge bans.
I think that was against OG sometimes, like Topson plays a lot of Venge, and there was also, I think there was one other team that was sometimes playing the hero, maybe like as an offlaner. The hero is good like mid to late game, but early game can just be a burden.
Yeah, I feel like she's in a spot where if she gets like one more buff, she'll actually be a good core again, like this offlane hero or something. Yeah. But in the current state, you just don't want to touch it. And ever since they took away the 2 charges on the ulti, then the 5 support just feels kind of awful.
Yeah, but that being said, though, I think Terrorblade is one of, if you are playing like a weak laner as a 5 position, Terrorblade is one of your favorite carries to lane with, because he has no problem just completely abandoning the lane after level 4. You know, he's going to use meta twice and he's going to be gone. And that's not always the most ideal, but maybe Nigma will crush their offlane, and that'll be the lane they play through while Terrorblade just, AFK farms.
Yeah, they could very much also still have the Lina mid, so swapping that Venge around between 4 and 5 still a possibility. Although at the moment it does look like a Lina mid, but it does look like a Venge 5 with the Tusk being picked up, and surely it's going to be GH taking that one. That said, as we have seen before from Team Nigma, they put Kuro, their position 5 player generally, on the offlane anyway, regardless. But would that be the same thing with the Tusk, you think?
Tusk overall is just really interesting too, because there's still a couple different 4s in, and I wonder if they have any thoughts of a flex, but I guess it's mostly just like the snowball save is so good versus Sand King and Luna.
Definitely, and I think the Tusk is also very good against Enchantress in the lane. It's a melee hero who can easily body block camps without taking too much like right-click damage, and if the Enchantress is ever too far up, Nigma is going to last pick their offlaner, I imagine, to combo with Tusk, maybe a ranged hero, or maybe they'll do Venge offlane with the Tusk and pick a new 5. But just having like a really strong lane in the offlane to match up against this first phase Luna Eng, if they can win the offlane, that's going to be where they can play through and make the map. So definitely like picking to not only go even in your lane, but pick to win your lane. And I think Nigma's got the right approach at the moment with his Tusk.
What kind of offlaners are still in the pool that you want to see
10 seconds remaining.
Paired up with that, though?
I think they're, as you said, the Wind Ranger, right? Like the offlane range heroes. The Death Prophet is another one that tends to be paired up with the Tusk. And then you've got your like your kind of like cheesy combos that you can do aside from Wind Ranger with the like the long range attack and stuff. But I mean, anything that can utilize tag team from a distance tends to be really strong.
I'd be down for the offlane Priestess of the Moon. What do you think?
Whoa, that's way too deep, dude.
You got Dragonlance, you got range the Luna, you got...
I think I'd rather have 3 Lina.
I mean, you could. I think you just want a range hero that can connect with tag team. So you could do like Viper. I think whatever you feel like is going to be the most impactful in the game. Sand King makes me maybe not want to do like Furion, but that could also be a good option.
Banned anyway.
10 seconds remaining.
Okay.
The ban Tide and
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah,
their catch is also a little bit weak now too, I guess, for Nigma, right? I mean, they could also, oh no, they banned it. Like they could go for something like that LC, I guess, right? This idea of like someone who actually provides an additional catch for your team, but then you're losing the laning advantage, unfortunately. So.
And that's the problem with we'll see how the double melee offline goes for Nigma. I'm just concerned that if they lose both their side lanes, there might not be like an out for them in the game. And Spider Pigs does have a lot of tower push with not only like the Luna putting early points in aura, but also the Enchantress being able to pick up the creeps. You know, you can push towers. You don't have to wait for the 5, 10, 15-minute catapult. You can just say, hey, I got this creep, we're pushing this tower. And that's one of the advantages of the hero. Plays faster than any other support in the game at the moment.
Slider was nice for covering some of that lack of control, though, but also giving them like faster roaches and stuff too, and it combos up all the minus armor they have. So, I mean, if they catch someone, they are definitely dead. between all the ridiculous physical damage they have.
That's what I see right now. I feel like Nigma is going to be dodging. They don't really have great team fight, right? They really need to wait for Terrorblade to participate in the game and just play pickoffs with Lina. So if Spider Pigs can pick a hero that has a lot of catch, I think that would be very good for them. They've already got a decent catch with the sinking, and they
that's
go
the
with
noob snap, right? That's mid.
That's a noob snap. Yes. Getting some minus armor. I think Team Nigma's also going to be very happy and very speedy taking down Roshan in this game. But at least Spider Pigs has got some good fight potential around that pit if they scout it out in time. It's a fun draft. I'm looking forward to this one. But who do we feel has got the upper hand in this? Because it is two very different ideas of Dota going up against each other, Peter.
I will say I do think that Nigma, even though I did kind of hype up the Spider Pigs, I feel like Nigma is the better team, so I feel like they will come out on top. I don't really love the Snapfire last pick. I feel like Miracle will destroy this lane on mid lane, so my eyes are going to be on mid, and I expect Miracle to just, it's going to be the Miracle show, hopefully.
Okay.
That's the goal. I see a lot of advantages for what Spider Pigs have done. Like, these are definitely some comfort picks. They have the Inkswall combos with Funnick as well, so I could see them kind of snowballing themselves. Noob is definitely a question mark, but I also really like the heroes they have for the Aghanim Scepter. So now that I have dismissed them enough, I will go for Spider Pigs and game.
Okay. Side panel. Love to see it. Let's see who takes his first game of the best of 3. We're heading over to T-Panda and Sinrin.
Thank you. The panel has spoken, and we're here at the Caster Desk preparing ourselves for this game number 1. Definitely statistics are looking a bit more to Nigma's favor, but at the course of this tournament, Spider Pigs have been looking good. Syndrome, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the panel pointed out good things that both drafts really have going for them. From my perspective, in terms of like stability and when it's crunch time for Nigma, one of the carries that they've historically been really good at relying on is that Terrorblade. And they've built a whole lineup basically to how can we make a LTW into a god in this game. So they've definitely got the tools that they need. But what I like about Spider Pig's draft in this game is that you have the ability to play aggressive and take the fight to Nigma early. And I think usually when you're the unfavored team in a matchup, playing aggressively will often be the highest win rate you have, because when it gets to that late game and gets really strategic, you'll often be outmatched by a more experienced squad. So I really like Spider Pigs' approach. I just hope we get to see them play good aggressive Dota in the start, and I think this could be a clip.
All of these series that both of these teams have played so far have gone all the way to 3 maps, so we'll see if a full series comes out this time as well. I love that they're setting themselves already on the Nigma side of the map, inside the triangle, maybe trying to get a ward scout out at the same time. As on the other side, we have Nigma placing themselves next to the tier tower. GH does go to scout the ward out. They're pinging on the other side of the river, though.
Look, Braun finding the first T ward of the game in the mid lane, so this should be a slight mid advantage, possibly. Yep, looks like the ward from Spider Pigs will not be found by the sentry. They did manage to place on the opposite side there, so Noob heading into the mid lane with a 25 experience advantage and the high ground ward advantage, which is a really big deal in range versus range. Being able to manipulate the lane better than your opponent would definitely help. And I'm honestly curious for this lane, because it sounds like Peter thinks this is very, very Lina favored and Miracle's that destroy Noob. I don't know if it's based on like player, or just lane composition here. I think Snapfire does okay in this, and Noob is a pretty depth laner, so I wouldn't expect a stomping here. But it's curious that they choose to pick Snap in the situation. I think part of what guided them is the sense of we want a mid hero that kills Terrorblade. And Snapfire has magic damage in spades. That's kind of like a wild card pick that Nigma probably aren't, first of all, not expecting and not very experienced against in mid.
They can put it that way.
They can make it
I see the 50-50 there of the basically Noob. It's level 2. I think the Snapfire has the better trading potential for though Miracle, he does have the advantage of having a higher attack range against the Snapfire. Yeah, it could be a 50-50 here in the mid lane, though. How important is it, though, on top 6? Because we talk a lot about when does the mid laner rotate the other side lanes to go for kills to leave the tower open. What does it really tell us here?
Well, both heroes are good at rotating, but Lina requires more setup. She can't really be She can't really create her own place necessarily until she has an item like a Yule exclusive to close the gap. Whereas Fire can basically rotate either side lane here with SandKid. It can cookie an Enchantress creep, it can cookie Ent herself, or the Luna who has an attack range that kind of naturally puts her in range. So honestly, I think Noob has probably a slightly better rotation potential towards this lane, whereas the Lina will probably only really want to connect with the Tusk lane. It's only that bottom side. But that Vengeance is really not that good.
Yeah.
So
this part at least.
oh. And
Gonna get a bit of a battle here. Fairy Fires Noob does get the bottle. Miracle having on the period it is, and we also have the water swapping, so it should be all right now after that little bit of a trade. They're tasting the waters.
Miracle is pulling slightly. I do still think that this. I'm not gonna say it's a 50-50. I think it's probably like 55-45 or 64 for the Lina. But that's still, you know, that's tough as a matchup. If the Snapfire performs well in the game, sometimes you can pick a losing mid lane as long as it's not like an absolute stop fest. If your trade-off is worth it, and that's just that payoff. I've talked a lot about and the peak of this game. It's very special.
I agree.
It wasn't very special a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, a couple of months ago there, this was a lot more popular one, but Snapfire's kind of disappeared almost in a lot of games.
What we're kind of paying attention to here is this top lane. We talk about Sanking being great against the Terrorblade lane. LTW is getting an alright start, getting the most important XP, get this lane roll. Doesn't necessarily yet have to rotate all the way from this lane. I mean, obviously would love to stay here for as long as possible until you're forced out into triangle. So he's really enjoying his time here in this lane now.
They're basically getting away with Avenge TV lane. Something that panel talked about. This lane is honestly notoriously really weak. When Terrorblade's Metamorphosis is down, you don't really offer anything in that lane. Venge is obviously a great partner once. That is every time there's downtime, the Sand King should be able to do a lot. Venge stun out there, Phonic, so he creates a distance immediately with Burrow Strike. But yeah, they haven't really managed with DNZ and Phonic to pressure LTW very much in the top lane. And actually, if DNZ is going for rotation because of this, looking at that mid lane, trying to connect on the 4-minute rune, but GH covering from the other side, and might even be the one to get the aggressive move in here.
Potentially, yeah. They have the cookie though. At least they can get over the shards and get themselves back to safety, secure the other rune on the river. What I was kind of looking at was that in the past, I mean, during this tournament, Spider Pigs, even if they've won or lost a game, they've still come out strong in the laning stakes. They've basically either won their lane statistically, well, mostly looking at money, but it doesn't necessarily convert to a win, because I'm kind of afraid, how does Nigma play their mid game, and especially when you all the way go to the end parts of this mount. Koma has been averaging almost 800 GPM in the course of 3 series.
Yeah, I think the Luna will definitely be able to find good farm in a game like this, just because the inherent nature of Nigma's lineup is, in the beginning, it's relatively slow, and then it very much ramps up toward the mid-late game. So I do think Luna will hold up, but the question is, like, if she holds up, is that good enough? If you have an even game on your hands, minute 20, are you satisfied as Spider Pigs? And I would not be with their drafts. They have put themselves, in my opinion, a little bit on the clock. Because I think Lina Terrorblade with Vengeora just becomes overwhelming for a carry like Luna in the end game. Like, it's just too much high range damage potential. You even factor in the tag team as a possibility to make it even worse if she's accessible. It can be too much. So again, Spider Pigs, it's going okay in the lanes, but no kills. You did draft in particular for some lane dominance with Enchantress as well as the Sanking lane. But you haven't really managed to do that just yet, so maybe looking to perhaps connect 3 heroes on a play sometime soon. Inch could maybe try a smoke mid as well when Snap is level 6, which has happened. But for now, they're very, very static and stable. Good damage on mind control bottom, though. The golem is about to split.
I'm going to try and get this kill on the Slardar. This could be the first one as well. There's another Shardling available, though. He's got more movement speed. This could be safe. Inch runs out. At least a little bit of pressure to get the Slardar out momentarily. Though GH is already arriving here. Courier snipe potential here on the Edge Courier. A little bit of money coming their way right there. Looking for a third one, are they?
Where are you going?
GH chooses to engage into this. This could be first blood.
Though. but also dropping very low in top. A lot of brawling now going around on the map. GH snowballs back to safety, but Koma a little bit more for another loosened beam. However, not enough. Koma picks up first blood with the Spider Pigs.
It looked a little bit like miscommunication between miCKe and GH. Kind of rare to see, but GH was going in, and Mind Control's like, nope, not interested in this.
They are trying to play a top though. Not gonna get the distance close on LTW there with the Invis Snapfire. Nice try with the Inkswell though.
Yeah, they were aware this was coming. That defensive sentry ward seeing the Snapfire and nothing comes from it, but like the attempt, although this is costing them a decent amount of damage on the mid tower. GH actually already positioned here, gonna miss the shard. I don't think the snowball will be enough for this, but with tag team,
that's like
nicely done.
Literally on the edge.
Yeah, that was very, very good.
But it also brings up Nigma on the board there with that one kill going for Miracle with the Dragon Sled. DNG though, as the silence on the Tusk, trying to give some vision. Miracle getting vision on the camp, so he could snowball to safety, but not really in big trouble here. Noob coming in from the river. We can get the cookie stun onto the Tusk, looking to drop down. Noob will pick this one.
Such an awkward situation. It looks like GH was trying to push himself down the cliff, and then he's stuck, got himself stuck, had no mana to snowball the camp. He kind of just killed himself in the corner. Unfortunate situation for him, but
Miracle was providing vision on the camp. He could have snowballed if he had a lot of Laguna Blade on the Snapfire. There's an Xwell available. They might just kill Miracle in the end, or they might just turn around for it, but no, the Dragon Slade's gonna be enough. DNZ gonna get hit by the stun. Tusk is also coming back in while Funnick takes down Kuroki as DNZ falls. A double kill for Miracle. Lives with 200 HP.
He got so much value out of Magic 1 plus raindrops there. It looked like a very possible kill for the Snapfire Grim. You have so much burst damage when you come in close with the Snapfire there, but the mitigation Miracle just enough, and a great read from him that he can pick up that bonus kill as well. Like you said, the trade-off of Venge isn't really too bad, especially if Kuro can somehow manage to hold this tower. Nash is going to force away Spider Pigs with GH flanking as well onto Sand King.
Use the epicenter on the previous engagement though, so at least that's one ulti less. Take this by GH and LTW double back out.
Oh no. Noob tried to cookie a creep into the immediate ulti onto Miracle, but the creep died mid-air to Miracle's attack, so he didn't get stunned. And that's just a Mortimer Kisses into the wind. Hit, I think, literally none of them, or maybe one.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That all chat.
Falling a little bit short there.
Chat with
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Here in Kuroki is the top tower is only at 380 HP. We are looking to take some pressure on him, but Venge just sitting behind the tower, playing it safe. However, LeBron coming in from the side, and Champ goes out. We have the Centaur out for the stun. Another stun coming in from the Inks, while GH is coming to the rescue though. Can they keep Kuro up? As Seki gets a nice two-man Pearl Strike, Koma joins in the fun as well. As GH about to fall, they will take down two, and the entire Spider Pigs team is here in top now.
I think you and I have a different idea of what a rescue is. That's not really what a rescue usually looks like to me. That was very naive, to say the least. Maybe the read from Nigma was that there aren't that many heroes there, but considering the rest of the map was bare, you'd probably just sell your Venge in that tower and you're like, okay, you know, he tried to hold it, he tried to delay it. Didn't happen. But they get that nice little bonus kill on GH plus his TP, so it means there's 40 seconds now that this Tusk cannot rotate, and maybe that opens up for a play bottom here. I like this a lot from DNZ to connect with Sand King, because there's a good possibility of an outnumbering situation here if they can get an additional hero. Great sentry though from Kuro into the swap. Very nice.
Just a great play overall. Just get Funnick out, now they can also start sieging this tower. Maybe get it all the way down.
I don't think Spider Pigs are trying to hold it now. That's a really big difference between having Sand King sitting in the tree line using the Sandstorm and sitting out in the open there. And obviously the way the Sandstorm was placed, Kuro knew that he would always get that swap after Sentry because he couldn't fog him there. If that was a little bit more defensively placed at the tower, maybe you can play like that bottom tree line and not get swapped in that moment. But not a possibility. Enigma are definitely starting to get in a very good position here. We've highlighted a couple of good Spider Pigs plays, but the gold is telling the story of the game. 2k lead, ILTW as well as Miracle are, especially Miracle, far ahead of his counterpart right now in that Snapfire. 1700 advantage, 3-0. an additional 30 CS.
Radiant's middle tower.
Very true. They are getting away with this, and also what's going to happen in the coming minutes now that they have this lead. I'm pretty sure they can secure more for this TV. Luna's trying to scratch what farm they can, basically, if they can get more ancient stacks. Get Filma's game rolling. Covering bottom Phonic. He's in trouble of losing his life for a second time in a row. Mind Control slapping away these heavy hits. Another stun comes in from the bash. And Mind Control picks him up. He gets to the SK in a short matter of time.
This is looking really concerning for SpiderPix with the progression, and also the fact that the items that Luna is hovering, I don't think they win this game. Like they talked about in the panel, one of the ways Luna can deal with a Terrorblade is going for an Aghanims, like more of a casting build, a spell damage build. But the problem here is he went for Dragonlance, now he's going seemingly into either BKB or Manta. I just don't think he can stand and deliver in this. But at the same time, if you concede, so to speak, to going immediate Ags, then you're also just getting countered. Your entire lineup gets countered by BKB, right? So it's kind of a damn it if you do, damn it if you don't situation. There's like a damn it going on.
Is rough for the Luna. Coma goes down. Nice smoke play there from GH and Miracle, completely catching this Luna completely in surprise, even in front of the tower. They're just getting these kills in front of the tower. However, SpiderPix setting up in bottom. Onyx smoke already caught and DNZ.
Radiant's middle tower.
Set up, and can they get this to work? I don't think they can.
Big item timing on the way, but they don't have it yet. So this dagger for Sand King is finally arriving, but the moment is over, so they're just gonna reset and leave. But yeah, TBD pointed out on the panel, this could become the Miracle Show. It's definitely the makings of it right now. He's having an outstanding performance. The laning went relatively evenly until that double kill he got in the river, and that's really what propelled him into this massive mid game, where seemingly for now, unless he gets like absolutely piled on by Sand King and at least a Grimstroke, Inkswell, and some more magic damage, he will be able to find key kills in every fight with the casters around the tanking. Blinking in.
They know something's up. Miracle already placed behind the tier 2 tower. Phonic can't close in the gap on Kuro. Still on the run, the cookie comes out. He's got the Burrow Strike, but the big commit for this bench. What can he get out of it? Epicenter committed as well. The Laguna Blade comes out on DNZ. Miracle finds one. They can find a second as the SK falls. A double kill. Now 6-0 on this Lina. And SpiderPix, they're on the retreat.
I'm not sure they're getting out of this safely just yet. LeBron.
Oh my god, the tower. So...
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Tusk Punch with Corrosive Haze is just dirty. Like, it's kind of crazy how much damage you can do as a support Tusk in that situation. I think he almost one-shot the Ench when that Corrosive Haze alone finally completed the attack. Enigma gonna do one thing that their lineup does best. This is a very, very fast road. Tower where? They just can't make it.
By the time they've already respawned, it's too late. We're gonna get this one scot-free. Enigma's lead will continue to grow here. We're 5k now as we're hitting the 15-minute marker. Looking pretty good for Enigma. They have their mid-game pretty much secured here. They've got Miracle and LTW both in the head of this net worth chart as well. And Coma might have been too deep here. Is it a cape though, because they are coming into the rescue, and this one might actually be one. They've got the Eclipse coming out as well. Mortimer's Kid was on top. Kuro falls and sees well, but they cannot quite finish off the third. That's GH getting away, but it's 2 kills for Noob.
It's good spell casting and a good bait there, especially like really quick stun reaction. He only has level 2 Burrow Strike, but connects that one very nicely on the key targets, and they find all their spells from a distance. So yep, very nice indeed, but unfortunately for them, none of the big 2 involved there. There's no Lina and there's no Terrorblade as part of that play, and you can't really claim any structural damage with your lineup at this point. You're being too pressured in the other lanes. Terrorblade already pushed out mid across the river. Lina is knocking on bottom tier 2.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
they're just scared top. They know they committed a lot of resources, so trying to dive into this tier 2 tower would probably just be a disaster. They're gonna back off and farm a bit more. Is Luna closing on anything meaningful? So there's Yasha.
Manta still quite a bit away.
Is he playing Manta or BKB first though?
Which one would you build?
Yeah, I don't know, because like both items have their advantages, right? You want the Manta style against Corrosive Haze.
Setting up for Mind Control. They've got the jump, the Epicenter on the Slarder, but he's dropping very low. or very slowly in case the swap comes out from Kuro. They do have them leashed up together, but LTW wants to join in the fun.
Easy
Just take
counterplay.
down LeBron, and Miracle also finds the Enchantress.
50 HP
40
on Miracle there on mid. Yeah, very, very close, but manages to find that kill on Ench and get out without losing the Aegis. Yeah, to finish off on the Luna thing, I think you buy Manta if you want to counter Reflection as well as the Corrosive Haze. And BKB is kind of better against everything else, right? You get more of a fighting chance against the Luna, have a lot of stuns that you can block here, but you can still get swapped. And I think that's honestly the biggest problem for the Luna in this game is whenever she positions herself to do anything aggressive, if she gets swapped in, this hero is super susceptible when it gets repositioned. And I think that might have been a part of Kuro's logic when you picked it. Not only is it good with Terrorblade, but it's good against the... Alright, that was a good stroke there.
Yeah, that's it. He doesn't go on at the same second. He appears on TH though. Then he misses the Walrus punch. Doesn't get anything on LeBron. However, the Mortimer's Kisses that finish up GH. They drop Kuro low, but he is too far away. Miracle joins in the fun though. Maybe Nick has a chance to set up something here. It is a 4v4.
Looks
like they're backing out.
Yeah, I think for Nigma right now, you probably either look to cross down to the bottom area and get this tier 2 with your Aegis, or you make an invasive maneuver on the enemy triangle and stop the Luna from farming. Like, both of these plays are good for different reasons. I personally like the triangle play more, but it does look like, unfortunately for them, Luna just cleaned up that triangle and left, so they might not find her here. Hoping to block this 18 minutes. Look at a different story here.
I got a kill, but on the positive side for Spider Pigs, if there is one, it's they do tank this smoke and leave them
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The downside is you lose access to your triangle, and Luna needs this. So you either have to invade and take the enemy triangle and start farming there, or you have to fight your way back up here. You can't accept losing this source of income. So they will choose to try to protect rather than invade. Luna is sitting there now, but obviously Kuro with that good offensive ward could lead to something Epicenter.
Epicenter to try to get this TV out of the way, but he pops his BKB and a Sunder on Coma. He's not able to get the Manta dodge in time. Snapfire will fall onto the tower. MC hunts him down. Oh, he's got DNZ on his sights. Here comes the TV for the backup, and the firepower is definitely there. 2 kills again for Nigma. They are just on a roll. GH still on the hunt, can't find anyone with the shovels.
Good attempt there from Funnick, but again, Kuro is in a good position with the Venge, and they have the BKB into Sunder play, so missing that little bit of extra damage to get that Terrorblade kill, and that would have been a very different story, but worth noting, that Miracle wasn't even involved, right? You lost that fight without the biggest hero, or the second biggest at this point. Terrorblade has gained quite a bit of ground, but, you know, Miracle didn't even need to be there for this fight. That is very concerning. Now he's going to show up with a double damage, and just wait until the split goes down and see how fast this one could go down. Right, Terrorblade stopped hitting it. That was down a bit, but Miracle will do it on his own. A little bit of illusion help. LTW finds the confidence to go in.
Top tower is falling.
Now that we kind of look in hindsight maybe a little bit, if Luna did opt to go for the BKB all the way, that Sunder would have never actually gone off, and they might have been able to kill TV, but that's a whole different story, as they are now on the oppress. The advantage here to maybe catch. Well, LeBron is there to take the bait, at least on her, but he wants to speed, and he's looking a blade straight on DNZ. He's just gone. They will follow up on Coma, and Spider Pigs are losing heroes. 1, 2, 3 gone. And Nigma just they're just unstoppable. They could go even high ground here.
They could. I think at this point, Spider Pigs, I feel that you can feel the desperation in their plays. They're getting cornered. They're just getting like starved out of the map, and they feel like they need to do something. They're just very outclassed here. The part of the game that their lineup needed to succeed in, they weren't able to pressure Nigma nearly enough, and Nigma is the experienced squad they are. They read the game, they read the map very well. Some individual outplays, especially for Miracle, and all of a sudden you find yourself in that stage of the game where this is when Nigma's lineup is supposed to start getting strong, but they've been winning before that even. So it's not going to get easier from here on out, unfortunately, for the Spider Pigs. Like, both Brimstroke and Enchantress are going to fall off at the point. And you have a mid Snapfire though, and Boost of Travel Kaya. There really isn't much in the way of scaling on the Radiant lineup anymore, except that one Luna, who is going Axe, by the way, giving up the BKB. They know they need the damage.
That damage is definitely what they need right now, because they are very much behind, and as also brought up on the statistics screen, Miracle heading into the top 5 of these qualifiers with 10.5k net worth inside 20 minutes. Oh, pretty difficult game here.
It's just a reflection for now. Okay, GH can't make it there in time, even with the dagger. It was close. You could almost blink snowball there, but not finding anything. Still, you can see the game plan from Nigma here. It is control triangle. Keep playing this area. Roshan can respawn in a minute. You want to be the team dominating this part of the map. And it feels a lot better to give away your own triangle for this when you know Roche is coming up, because then it doesn't really feel like an even trade. If Roche has just been killed and you trade, then it's like, okay, you know what, we're not really gaining. But right now you're gaining in the way of position. And you have just found a Sand King. GH.
Get out of there. He does have a blink dagger available. MC just blinks and gets stunned, but he's already out. Meanwhile, LeBron, well, gets a bit of damage on this bottom tier 1 tower, but they are losing their tier 2 and mid at the same time. They're coming in to defend it though, and just come in for an ill surprise. GH, he's got him in place. He's got Snowball, got the shards, MC comes in as well. This is a catch.
GH doesn't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
He leaves immediately, goes for the follow-up smoke. They're going to try to... If they connect on any core kill here, either the Luna or the Snapfire, it's probably just high ground time. You've got Metamorphosis ready. Scotty almost complete has double damage for another, what's that, about 30 seconds probably on LCW.
Like that,
So they really want to get in here immediately.
Yeah, they might catch some hero off guard. If Funnick is not fast with his fingers, he's gonna get caught maybe on the edge of a high ground. GH goes in, cancels the blink, but they can't get the LSA stun to connect. However, MC coming in, he's gonna follow up on Funnick. Funnick is loading up Cookie. Get Funnick on the safe side. They pop the Linkens off of Miracle, but Funnick is life in the end. Not much that they can do to save him here. So LTW, he begins the siege. 1 rack's already down. They head towards mid for another.
Spider King are making it look really easy in this game.
Yeah, they are.
All their moves are connecting, and they're covering each other very nicely. Some damage coming out on LTW here. He's going to stun the Kuro. Just play it safe. Eventually.
And they still have the swap set. He ended up in trouble. So here comes the epicenter. This is the play. They need to make it count. And TV's disappeared. He's in a snowball. And then we'll turn it around. 2 heroes down. That's a double for LTW. They will lose the Luna. And Spider Pigs getting dismantled inside the base with the GG call coming out. We're in for a real ill awakening. Nigma was more prepared.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's kind of concerning. You just got